Good side.
All right, Sportball guys, we're here. You might recognize us. I'm Justin. That's Brandon. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? How's everybody out there? You especially?
Good. You can recognize us from our other show, Good Blue, Bad Blue, where we mostly talk college basketball, North Carolina, Duke. But now this is the start of a new show for us.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, we like to broaden our horizon. We do a lot of stuff. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff other than just watch college basketball.
Yes.
And one of those things is watch all sports, which is why Sportsball Guys is a show now. Us two, we're ready to talk sports, and the biggest sports thing right now, this moment, is the NBA Draft 2024. Brandon, I know you watched round one because we texted each other throughout.
Yes, we did.
You've probably been watching the draft your whole life.
Whole life, absolutely. I can almost remember most of the number one picks.
Yeah, I really had to think about it, but I can tell you I've probably watched I've watched some of every draft since I can be old enough to remember. So let's just get right into this draft, man. Let's just go ahead and say it.
I'm ready.
Topic point number one. Was this a weak draft?
Compared to others I've seen, absolutely. But there's still a number of great stars that stick out, and I'll reveal it. If anybody watches basketball, they'll already know who I'm talking about. But in the next 7 to 10 years, the best player in the NBA was just drafted.
This year?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
Wow, I'm going to go through this list here and see who can be better than Wembanyama, who was drafted last year, or Luka Doncic, who was drafted like 5 years ago.
Oh, y'all will see.
I mean, do I got to go round two, pick number 55 in round two? Is that who we're talking about here?
He was my second choice.
I don't know.
The hands down number one most marketable pick, number one pick in marketing in the whole year.
So you're thinking Alex Sarr? I'm guessing.
I am. My gosh.
So you thinking he's better than Wemby?
I think he has a lot of things about him that could be better than Wemby.
Yeah.
I think he's a more explosive player off the ball. I think that he's actually a better shooter than Wemby for sure. He's a great shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, he honestly has a Kevin Durant kind of game. I mean, in a lot of ways. Super athletic, blocks a lot of shots. Now, to be fair, he has not played with the size and the strength in France that he is going to find here in the NBA. It will be a culture shock to him.
100%.
But when he develops, gets a little older, gets a little stronger, learns how to actually play NBA-style defense, he's going to be an absolute force.
Yeah.
I mean, force.
I definitely think he's going to be really, really good. I don't know about a great player. I think he's going to be a all-star. I mean, there's a couple of things that I'm looking at that are kind of negatives on him. One thing is he's pretty much kind of said that he doesn't really want to play on the inside. He wants to be like a Kevin Durant type player, or kind of a perimeter guy, and I think that hurts him because his size, he needs to be on the inside. And then also just going to the Wizards. I mean, let's be honest here. When's the last time that they really created a superstar? Have they ever?
When he becomes the best player in the league,
it won't be for
it'll
them.
be because he plays for the Celtics or the Mavs or the Lakers.
Yeah.
Washington, you drafted somebody else's great Hall of Fame star.
Yeah, 100%. I don't see him lasting. He might make it through the second.
I can say that for a lot of teams in the draft.
He might make it through the second contract with the Wizards, maybe. But and the Wizards, though, I think they're also just trying to tank. I think they might be going after the number one pick again next year.
You know what? I mean, if you know what you have and you know you're not going to go anywhere with it, it's not a bad move. Try to get the number. I mean, they proved that anybody can truly get the number one pick. I mean, Atlanta had. I mean, they were. If they weren't a playoff team, they were right on the outside. Yeah, they still landed a number one pick. I mean,
they were not one of the top 3 worst teams.
And I actually think they picked a good player for them.
Yeah,
I'm really going to compliment Trae Young on that.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it here for talking point number 2. Who went number 1, man? Because it was kind of a surprise. I feel like all I've heard throughout most of the last year is Alex Sarr was going to go number 1, and then all of a sudden here comes Zachary Ricochet? I don't even know how to say his name.
Zachary Ricochet.
Yeah.
Ricochet. Good player. I mean, listen, he's a good number. Is he the best player that was picked? No. Alex Sarr is. But that was a business thing, which, hey, listen, if you know what you are, go with it. Somebody's going to give you a job and pay you a lot of money.
Absolutely.
But no, Ricochet has a great game. He's super explosive. He's a great shooter. Very athletic. I don't know what they're putting in this French water, what's in the Le Bleu or whatever you want to call it out there. But they are breeding some absolute studs, and he and I have differing opinions on a future topic in this show. But Charlotte got one of those, in my opinion, studs.
Yeah, they picked a French guy as well.
Yes, they did.
Richashire? I still don't know.
That's all right.
Is he?
All right.
Was he the most shocking number one pick since Anthony Bennett? I mean, normally I feel like number one is always we know who it is without a doubt. We know who it is.
Okay, so this reminds me a lot of when Cam Newton was the number one pick.
Yeah.
When he got drafted, because he was only the number one pick because Andrew Luck decided to stay in school. Okay, well, Alex Sarr made it clear, I'm not going to go be a 5-player in your Atlanta offense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go be a incredible, really oversized 3, really an oversized 4, but he plays like a 4. Strong power forward. So, the chemistry wouldn't have worked.
No.
And
also he gets to go to Washington where he'll be the number one guy.
Oh.
In Atlanta,
they'll build the whole thing around him.
Yeah, in Atlanta, I don't see Trae Young ready to give up that number one spot
That's
yet.
his team. And it will be until he says otherwise.
And they just traded DeJounte Murray as well, so they definitely are just saying, Trae, this is your team. We found you a decent guy that you can do pick and rolls with.
Yep.
A guy that can, step out and hit some threes for you.
Their fast break's going to be nice when they get in transition. They're going to punish a lot of teams.
Yeah, I love the pick in that Atlanta got something that they really needed. I don't think they got the best player, but they got something they really needed. And it really reminds me of remember when Atlanta had the number 2 pick years and years ago, and they picked Marvin Williams from Carolina.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what this guy reminds me of a little bit. He might be bigger, but I feel like the gameplay might be the same. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I feel like he has way more game than mine. And I'm not saying
but they play the same style.
They do play the same style, but I feel like Richashie is a more talented player.
Which I'm not arguing. with that. I'm just saying.
I feel like he has more in his bag.
Yeah. Marvin Williams never really created much, but I'm just saying what they do, I feel like, is kind of the same player. And, I loved Marvin Williams when he was with Atlanta. They never could get past that next point, which was partly because Marvin Williams never got to that next level.
We'll see. Nothing but bad teams when he played.
Well, they made the playoffs a couple of times.
They
had Josh
Smith, but
they had Hal Horford for a while. They had some players. They just never could. It was like they were always there. They just could never get up there for some reason. Well, let's move on to what I think could have been the best pick in the first round, and that's the Lakers with their number 1 pick, Dalton Knecht.
Absolutely.
I think, I was very surprised that he fell that far, all the way to 17.
Going to the Hornets.
I thought he was going to be a top 10 pick. I even bet that on FanDuel.
All right, so right before the Hornets made their selection, I'm sitting here thinking it's going to be Dalton Knecht. It just it's going to be Dalton Knecht. I even called it out in front of my wife, and then Tijan Salone came on. I'm like, oh, okay, huh? No clue who you are. But no, I think Dalton Knecht was going to go in and really compliment Austin Reeves, really compliment Anthony Davis, and especially LeBron.
Yeah.
And here's what he can do. He can do it silently and focus because all the camera and media is going to be on LeBron and Bronny.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a great situation for him.
Dalton Knecht is, the dude could put up points in college. He had multiple 30-point games. Even in the NCAA tournament, he had a 30-point game. The dude's a baller. The dude's a scorer. He only fell that far because he played all 5 years in college, which is one thing I really hate about the draft. It's like they punish you for playing all those years in college. If this dude was 20 years old, I guarantee you probably would have been a top 5 pick.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think instantly he might be my pick for Rookie of the Year.
It's not a bad pick. He's going to have he's going to have plenty of opportunity to do it. He's going to fit in great into their system.
Absolutely.
And LeBron, as much as people don't like him, he is really good at getting good other players in the game with them.
Yeah. He's going to fit their style very good.
Much so. That was a good pickup by them.
Absolutely. I really think it was the best pick. Like I said, I was shocked that he fell that far.
Yes.
Never would I ever have thought. I thought for sure he would have been top 10 at worst. Like I said, I thought maybe top 5 even, but never did I think that. Let's move on and talk a little bit about some of the trades. There were a lot of trades, and one problem I have with the NBA draft. The trades are so weird during the draft. Mm-hmm. The Knicks make a trade, but yet they still make the pick.
Yes.
Even though it's already been announced that they're trading the pick. What sense does this make?
Why doesn't the team that got the pick or is getting the player just make the pick?
Yes.
That's what I don't.
Yes.
I mean, I guarantee you, there's some form of business where saying where you spent your. I think it's a way to save picks. Like these, they don't have to trade picks back by doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one thing I can think of. But no, like the logic behind it, it's not real, not realistic. And this is one of the drafts I remember there being way more trades than usual.
Yeah, there was a lot of trades.
Big time,
and there was a couple I wanted to hit on really quick after we talked about how bad the trading is. Rob Dillingham gets drafted by the Spurs and they trade him. Man, I thought he was going to fit great with them. I was excited. I was like, dude, him and Wemby, that is going to be an awesome combo. And then they trade him. I'm like, dude.
What did they get for him exactly?
Some future picks.
Okay, so they stockpiled in the backside of picks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad move, but I mean, you also somebody I think Dillingham's a little bit undersized, but I also think he's very explosive and he can make up for that in his speed. I mean, he's a very, very speedy player. So, and he got traded to
Minnesota.
So he's going to. Oh, okay.
Was it
That's
Minnesota?
A great opportunity to learn under Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, Cat. All those guys that were
the Timberwolves,
they had one bad series at the wrong time. I still think they're a better team than Dallas, but
probably so, yeah.
But they just made too many mistakes. That's beside the point. He is in a great situation.
Yeah, I think either situation was great with him. I personally, I would have liked to have seen him just grow up with Wemby. I think that would have been a good 1-2 punch for probably the next.
Spurs are definitely coming back.
Oh, 100%.
Not far away from it.
Greg Popovich is too smart to not have his team up there eventually again.
Just when you thought the man might retire and move on, he's building his next dynasty of championships.
Absolutely. I mean, they still made a good pick with Stephon Castle at number 4. Oh. So that was really, I guess, kind of. I think Pop wants that kind of point guard. I guess he didn't really want the Dillingham point guard, because really, they never really had the scoring point guard. I mean, Tony Parker wasn't really a scorer per se. I mean, they want the passer, which I think is more Stephon Castle. I'm
going to add to Stephon Castle why they really took him.
Yeah.
His defense.
Oh, 100%.
He plays excellent defense.
Oh, man,
he was smothering guards in the NCAA tournament. He's a way better defender than Dillingham.
Oh.
So you didn't need to have to deal with that. Plus, Stephon Castle has tons of offensive game. That's another guy who's going to be. Let me see how many All-Stars. I'm going to say 4 or 5 at least in his career. I think Stephon Castle is going to be an animal.
I think
he really is.
I think out of all the teams that he could have gone to, he went to the perfect spot.
Great team, yes.
And it's gonna be fun to watch the Spurs, man, because in the day and age where everybody's scoring 140 points, the Spurs are gonna be holding people to like less than 100 game in and game out, because Wemby really locks down that paint, and Stephon Castle is gonna lock down the perimeter, and they still got Jeremy Sochan, who's a great defender. I mean, that team. They're coming, man. They're coming. It
might be this next year. I mean, the team, once they develop more chemistry together, and they need they're really young, so they're going to need a few more years of bulking up and physicality, be able to deal with Minnesota, because right now Minnesota is probably the best team in the West.
I mean, yeah, possibly. I mean, it's hard.
As long as they keep their players and they keep their chemistry.
I mean, it's hard for me not to say Denver's the best team.
They are.
Any team with the Joker.
Yeah, I mean... He is the best player in the league.
Yeah.
So you are right about that. But
they were kind of injured last year in the playoffs.
But Anthony Edwards is just another animal.
Oh, that dude's a stud. I didn't believe it until this year, but I believe it now.
I'm a fan now.
His mid-range game is it's a thing of beauty. I love it. Well, let's move on to probably the most exciting pick, and the pick that we waited so long for, and that's pick number 55. I think we kind of maybe thought that this would happen in the first round. I mean, I honestly was kind of shocked that didn't happen in the first round. LeBron James Jr., Bronny, got picked, of course, by the Lakers, which was no surprise. But I mean, thoughts? I mean, what do you got to say, man? I mean,
there's not really much to say about why it happened. Anybody who has any logic, even if you're not a sports fan, can read right through that and say, okay, LeBron is the hands-down best player in the last 20 years. Debatable, but that's my opinion also. And you're going to draft this kid. The publicity and fame behind it is just too good of a story. Plus, when you're LeBron and they've made it well known over the last few years, you want to be on a team with your son before you retire.
It was going to happen.
It was going to happen. Can he play? I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he can, but can he, equate to that? I mean, he's got. I mean, we know whose son he is, but he's not him. He's
No.
going to have to go through the process, and he's going to realize real quick while Dalton was first round and you were second round. I mean, he's going to have to, really get his big boy pants on and bring it. But I mean, I don't want to hold the kid back without giving him a chance. I mean, he's got one of the greatest players in history is a guy who can give him pointers. I mean, how do you beat that?
I mean, he could definitely turn into a good third string point guard. I don't see him really being much more than that.
I don't. He's not going to have a career a tenth of what his dad's was, of course. But.
I mean, if you had to tell me right now what I think his career is going to be, I think he is out of the league in 3 years when his dad retires.
Okay,
I think this was a pick because the Lakers had no
sentimental.
They just I think they realized that there was nothing there that they needed at 55, so they're like, screw it, we'll just take him. I mean, why not? Like, why not just go ahead and take him? It's not going to hurt anything. They could have easily just let him go undrafted and then signed him because I don't think he wouldn't sign anywhere else, obviously.
No.
But, yeah, I don't see his career lasting more than 3 years. I really don't. He's 6'0". He's not really special at anything. Like, he's really good at some stuff, but he's not special at anything. And 6'0" guys don't make it in the NBA anymore. They never have, really, in the last 10 or 15 years. I mean,
no, it's too hard for their size.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't see how he continues to be in the league past his dad being gone.
I mean, I've seen too many I have picked so many players wrong so many times. It's like, I'm pulling for the kid, but I agree with you. Yeah. He's not built for it.
No,
at all.
No. It's still, to me, it's still crazy that he got drafted. Like I think he really actually could have been a really good college player at a certain school. Like he could have been like maybe, third team All-America or something, or all an all conference or something. But I think
not to bring up the dark side of this or anything, but doesn't he have cardiac issues?
Yeah, he had that. He had that heart attack or something. Yeah.
That's something to think about. Like before you invest a big future, and it's the most fast-paced game played. Period.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's move on to kind of non-draft news here really quick. I just want to kind of talk about the Golden State Warriors and some of the moves that they're making. They didn't really have a draft pick. They did make some trades and ended up with one or two guys. But really their moves are not re-signing Klay Thompson, and they just let Chris Paul go, who just signed with the Spurs, by the way. Like breaking news as we were recording this. So the Warriors are going to be a way different team now, man.
And that was smart on the Spurs to bring in Chris Paul to groom, Stephon Castle.
Chris Paul with Greg Popovich is something that we have wanted to see for probably, 10 years?
Yes, and it's finally right at the end of Chris's career.
Yeah. I mean, you have the best point guard, really of probably this century with the best coach maybe of all time. Mm-hmm. And they finally combined because Popovich loves a good point guard. I mean, I really do wish Chris Paul would have gone there 15 years ago.
I mean, he won with Tony Parker. What could he have done with Chris Paul when Chris Paul was in his prime?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he probably
absolutely.
Yeah, they would have probably had 2 or 3 more titles. But yeah, the Warriors are going to be way different, man. Letting Klay Thompson go was a big surprise. I think Klay Thompson's not ready to give up that starting role. I think he still wants to be a star. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. Somebody will overpay for him, I'm sure. Celtics, I mean, yeah, I think they're saying the Mavericks though actually are going to be where he ends up. Yeah. I mean,
you can make anything work with good coaching and players willing to listen.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you put him beside Luka and Kyrie. I mean, that's a pretty lethal backcourt, really, honestly.
Yeah, but there's only one ball.
Well, yeah, but Klay doesn't. I mean, he took 4 dribbles one time and scored 60 points or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I mean.
I just saw what crushed Dallas in the playoffs, in the finals. It was the defense.
Well, yeah.
The Celtics' defense is just unreal. And Klay's not going to play that type of suffocating defense. And
not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
So, I mean, that's the biggest thing I see.
Yeah,
we have a visitor.
Yeah, we got the cat's coming up here. Yeah, she finally woke up. I guess, it'll be just interesting to see what the Warriors can do now, man. They're going to be a different team for the first time in a very long time. All dynasties come to an end.
They do.
All dynasties.
That was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. It was.
It really was. Steph Curry was special.
Yeah, it really got me back into the NBA because there, for a while, I just could care less. So watching them do what they did was just crazy. Let's move on to another topic here that I got, and how the foreigners basically should they have like their own draft, man? Because there's so many now. Like, should they just create like a third round where it's like only foreigners? Like,
I've always said there should be a third round.
Like, well, yeah, there should be a third round anyways. But like, there be one? Like, in baseball, like they don't really let the foreigners into the draft.
No, they really don't.
I mean, should they do something like that for basketball? Because literally none of the college kids are getting picked. I mean, you look at like there's so many college kids that didn't get picked. Where I'm like, these guys deserve to be on a roster.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying these Europeans or whatever don't deserve a spot, but you gotta give let them be drafted, man. I mean, basically nowadays with the foreigners and all the college kids for 60 spots, you got 200 people. I mean, that is just crazy.
They're growing up tougher with tougher competition, and they don't have the ridiculous rules that the NCAA puts on their kids in America. These kids are playing pro ball at 16, 17 years old. Okay? They're playing with grown men. And that's how Luka got so great. That's exactly what all of these guys are doing. You ever watch their games? There's guys on there that look as old as we do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously they're in like late 20s, late 30s, where here you got to go through high school. You're only playing with kids developed like you. Then you go to college. You're only playing with people developed just like you. I mean, they all say when they come over here, like, we have way better players, but they're also way softer players.
Oh, yeah.
Because the defense and fundamentals are not there because they don't have the strength, and they're not able to contain those. They're not able to contain those players. And that's why I think Alex Sarr, Wemby, think about it, Wemby's another one. I mean, they're all going to run. In the 10 years, you'll probably see your 10 best players all be foreign.
I mean, you're not far from that right now.
It's ridiculous. I mean the top three right now, in my opinion.
I was going to say,
now, the top three: Joker, Luka, Giannis.
Yeah. And you can't argue that. That's their top three. Without a doubt, that is your top three.
And Luka and Joker are kind of, you could argue those back and forth. I still like Joker because he's so well-rounded.
Yeah.
But, Luka's still an animal, and so is Giannis.
You could probably make an argument where the fourth best player is SGA from Canada.
Oh, absolutely. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, so the Americans, I mean, who is the best American player right now? Steph Curry?
Best American right now, like the most talented American player right now, Jason Tatum.
And then, I mean... Sure.
Ja Morant, when he's not acting like a
I mean, but I think I could list more Europeans that are going to be better than those two guys.
I don't think you're right. Yeah, you really could.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex Sarr,
yeah, it's crazy. Like they just need to redo the draft. Like I think they need
a third round.
Yeah, well, every team has a G League team. Now.
Yes.
So it's like, why not? Like you got more players. Like just make it like baseball. Be like, hey, every baseball team has 3 minor league teams. Yes. So you have a baseball team has 100 players that they hire. Basketball, you literally still to this day have like 16 players.
Don't they have like 40 rounds in the MLB draft, or is
it
higher? They've gone lower.
After COVID. I
know Patrick Mahomes was drafted in the 37th round.
But after COVID, I think they redid it. I think it's like 25 now.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But then there's like some like extra rounds at the end, like for like trade. But I think it's like 25. But yeah, it used to be like 60.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, well, because they take high school kids and college kids. Mm-hmm. So it's literally, if you play baseball in America, and with baseball, you're just in the draft, whether you want to be or not. So
they can take you and never speak to you ever.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's how Patrick Mahomes got picked.
Yeah, so it's like, but to me, that's better. Like, I like it. Like in basketball, it's like, so many kids are fighting for 2 rounds.
Yeah, they all enter. They all send in all their clips.
And I get that, each team only has, like I said, 16 or 17 spots. Mm-hmm. That's not enough in today's world, man. Like, you have a G League team. Like, let them have 25 spots at least.
Absolutely.
I mean, just, like, come on, man. Like,
pay them $200,000 a year to go play basketball.
Yeah, imagine how many more kids would want to play basketball. Like
I can name guys in the ACC right now that could be on G League teams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
R.J. Davis could be on a G League team.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean,
make a good living doing it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, pretty much both of Carolina starting lineup and Duke starting lineup last year could probably all five.
Oh,
all
Tyrese
10.
Proctor. Well, okay. First off, I think Tyrese Proctor would have got drafted. It'd have been late. It'd have been like right around where Harrison Ingram did.
Yeah.
But he would definitely go on a G League team.
Yeah. I literally think all 10 starters could play on the G League right now.
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean,
and a number of other ACC
But
players.
why not? Why not let that be an NBA contract to where they can get paid a little bit more money and have the acknowledgement of being an NBA player, whether or not you actually get there or not. Like, you're a pro baseball player, even if you don't ever make it to the majors.
Yes.
So
I mean, the NFL has the practice squad. That's one of the great. You know how many great players we found off the practice squad?
So
tons of them.
NFL, you have what, 58 spots on your roster?
50. No, it's 52.
52. Okay, 52
spots.
And then you got the practice squad, which is what, like 12?
Basically, it's another. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's each side, so it's going to be.
Okay. So it's
going
like
to be 25 or 30.
Okay, so yeah, I mean look how many spots that is, man. Like that's crazy. Like, and out of those 52, not all of them play in every game.
NFL generates way more revenue than the NBA does.
Do they? Because the NBA.
Oh no, NFL's the
NBA's throwing out
monster.
NBA's throwing out $80 million a year contracts now.
They are. No. Well, the NBA is more forgiving in the salary cap, but because I've been to both games.
Yeah.
Like I've sat in the lowers of both.
Oh yeah.
Panthers are way more money, and there's 70,000 of those seats.
Yeah.
Where there's 19,000 of the one down here.
Well, let's not get
now,
started
albeit there's 41 games there, where there's 8 games here. But either way, trust me, football is way bigger.
No, yeah, for sure, yeah. Let's move on to the next topping point while we're talking about the foreigners a little bit.
Absolutely.
How good is France, and why do we not consider them a threat to win the gold medal at the Olympics?
I mean, are those guys going to be on the? Are they playing?
I mean, I don't know if they're playing.
Is Wemby playing for France?
I mean, I don't know if he is or not, but I mean,
I'll tell you what. If those guys were playing,
no, Wemby. I'm pretty sure Wemby is playing, and Gobert.
They are a threat.
Yeah, I don't know about the guys. I don't know about the guys that
enough
just got drafted
to compete with the full consistency of the U.S.
Well, let's just say if all these guys that just got drafted, because you had 4 this year, you had 2 last year, plus Gobert, that's 7. That's 7 solid French players out in the NBA. Does that team not have a chance? I mean, like, should we be?
No, they do now. I mean,
yeah. Should we be taking France as a serious threat?
Because I think when it comes to point guards, USA is going to have it.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the center position,
that's the key.
That might actually, well,
I think France has the better center.
Yeah,
honestly.
with Gobert.
Yeah. I mean,
or no, Wemby.
Yeah, either one. You got to take over. Who's our guy? AD or Bam? I mean, they're both better than Bam.
They are now. I'm not going to rule France. Listen, I'm done ruling the world out.
Yeah. I mean,
1992 set the platform for this to happen now.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about Canada being a threat this year because their whole team is in the NBA. It's the first time. I think it's the first time ever that a country outside of America has a full roster in the NBA. I would love
to go see that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, R.J. Barrett, probably Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number. Yeah, I believe that makes perfect sense. There's a bunch of great Canadians.
Yeah, I mean, and you got Spain, who's always very good.
I love this.
I
think this is exactly what basketball needed. It's now a world game.
Absolutely. Oh, it's great. You have what? I can name 15 Nicolas in the NBA now.
Yes.
Like, they're all from Serbia. I mean, shoot.
And they're all going to play with great fundamentals.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to come a time when America, we don't win a gold for a year. Like, it's going to become where it's like we're on a drought.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, did we win the gold last time? We didn't win the gold last time. We didn't win the gold last time?
No, we did. No, they won it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was tight, but no, they didn't.
I have not watched.
That's actually something I do watch is men's basketball in the Olympics.
I watched last time I watched the Gasol brothers were still playing.
That's when Kobe destroyed them.
Ricky Rubio was last time I watched. But I guess it wouldn't surprise me if we don't win this year, even with LeBron and Curry and the whole whatever
that would surprise me a little bit actually, just because of the talent of those guys. If they're all playing, LeBron and Curry,
the roster. This is probably one of the most stacked rosters. But
I'm gonna go USA on that one.
I mean, they're definitely favored, but I would not be shocked if they lose because you're gonna roll Curry out there at point guard. I feel like on defense, there's got to be another point guard on one of these other teams. Like SGA is going to score on Curry if they play Canada. Center position, USA is going to face a couple teams that are going to have a better center than Bam Adebayo or AD. Because AD at this point in his career is not.
Yeah, but Wemby's young and he's not fully developed in his strength yet.
Yeah, but
Gobert's a grown man. You're right about that.
I mean, and then
you bring him out and cook him like Luka did.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, I think America's going to have a tougher thing than people realize, even with the so-called. I don't even know what we're calling this team. Well, we had the Dream Team. Then what do they call the one with Kobe and them?
The Redeem Team.
So what's
this? Lost.
So what's LeBron calling this one to try to make money off of?
It's a good question. He ought to just call it Team USA and roll them out and play.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever they're calling.
No,
this
I'm
one,
with you. Listen, the world has changed, and I don't just mean in everything outside of here. I mean in basketball. This is as global a game as soccer is. I think it is now. I mean, it's easier to play than soccer, especially in cold countries. Now, if you really think about it. It's only going to get better. And I'm sorry, the quality of the game, in my opinion, has gotten way, way better with these foreign players coming in.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've said for probably almost my whole life, honestly, truthfully, that European ball is more fun to watch than NBA ball. Like, I love that they play team ball. Not one player controls the ball. They pass it around. They set screens.
Yes.
Every player can pretty much do everything. Like, it's not just, like their center can get up there, and shoot it. Their center can get out there and run the court. I just love the European ball, man. It's not, in the NBA, it's really pretty much just, hey, you have one or two guys that can control the ball and score, like you have a chance.
Absolutely.
In Europe, that doesn't matter. Like, in Europe, it's like you got to have a good team to win.
Well, Luka said in an interview that the NBA has better players, but it's a lot harder to score 30 over there than it is in the NBA.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, which he said, which makes perfect sense because of the fundamental way they play the game.
Yeah.
It's tougher.
Well, so we're talking about good players. Let's go and move to a team that's not good and a draft pick that I say is not good, but you say is good.
Are you going to talk about my favorite team like they're terrible?
Yeah. Well, they could be my favorite team if I cared enough to really watch more. The Hornets, and I think they still suck, man. You like the draft pick?
I love the draft pick. I think he's the second best pick.
Man, I just don't see how do you pass up Donovan Clingan.
Okay, so I agree with you, but so here's my thought about this. First off, you got to hope that Mark Williams turns into the player that you think he's going to turn into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which he can.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Clingan can do a little more than Williams can.
Yeah.
But Williams is strong and super athletic, so I mean that's what's going to be the thing.
Yep.
Where Tijan Salone can really complement that. He's got a little bit of Luka, a little bit of Jason Tatum, and at moments I saw some John Morant in there with his handles. And he has a great shot. A great shot. He can stick it from anywhere. All these kids are growing up watching Steph Curry and all this. This is where they're all learning from. Well, this guy can hit it.
I agree with everything you're saying. The guy looks like he could become great. He's got some skills, but I think if you're the Hornets, you're probably kind of not, you're kind of almost in a win now spot. Like, I don't know.
I hope they really don't believe that.
Like, how long do you want to wait for these guys to get good with LaMelo sitting there? Like, at this point, if you're just drafting these guys to get better in a couple of years, just go ahead and trade LaMelo and get what you can. Because I feel like what they should have done is drafted Clingan, who right away is going to be, what you're getting. He's going to be good. He doesn't need to develop. They could have even drafted Dalton Connect and just went ahead and been like, hey, he's going to take over for Bridges. Like, they could have upgraded their roster right away and become a playoff team next year, I think. Instead, I think, once again, they're going to have a top 10 pick, and we're going to have the same conversation again next year, whether this guy is good or not. Which I think he could be good. I don't think he helps the team get better, though.
Not at first. He's a transition piece. But I am going to say this. I would have understood the Clingan pick.
Yeah.
And there's still a little bit of me that wishes we had done that just because it will ensure your size.
Yeah.
Think about having him and Mark Williams protecting that rim. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
However, I mean, Tijan has a lot of potential and is super athletic. I would have been mad if it would have been Connect over. I don't think he plays like Tijan. I don't think his game is as good as his. Definitely not as athletic.
Yeah.
He does not move he does not move defensively like, Salone does.
I agree with that.
I love Connect's game. I actually think he got picked pretty close to where he should have been picked.
Yeah, I think this is the reason why a lot of teams in the NBA continue to have top 10 picks at their top 10 pick.
Well, we're hoping that with a new coach, a new GM, and a new owner, we can finally get something right because the Jordan was terrible. Rich Cho, along with Kupchak, couldn't do anything. And I don't really know much about Charles Lee other than he did just win the championship with the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him that.
The players seem to like him. That's about all I know.
This is a new start over slate for Charlotte. No, listen, as a fan, I've done enough shows with him to know he knows I'm logical and objective. It's 3 or 4 more years. It's 3 or 4 more years because free agents don't come here.
No.
You got to build through the draft. Okay? I mean, you might have maybe this new owner will love the idea of going and getting a star power player and giving him a ridiculous Embiid type contract. Which I don't hate that if the guy's good, but you got to make the rest of the team around him good. No, this is the type of team that builds through the draft. But guess who else built through the draft? Golden State. They built that whole team through the draft. So I know it's possible to do it, but we're gonna need some patience and some understanding, and hopefully they got good pieces in that can do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you're just kind of what year of LaMelo are we going into now? Yeah, it's just like at some point it's
he was
like
drafted in 2020.
Yeah, so like at what point are we gonna try to win for him? Like because now you're saying okay, we're gonna win in 2 years. Okay, but if this guy doesn't pan out, then. Or do we draft again next year where it's okay, we're going to draft again for 2 years?
I love LaMelo's game, but there's so much talent coming out now that will give you way more heart than he will that it might be an even wash.
Oh, I think that they should trade LaMelo. I personally don't like LaMelo. I think he's not a winner. I don't think you're ever going to win with LaMelo. But he's got the skills to where maybe if you put a good team around him, maybe he can try to win. But
he's fun to watch in person. I've been to enough lower bowl games there to watch how he can ball. Trust me.
No, I mean,
how motivated are you when you're 20 and 50?
Exactly. I mean, which sadly I think they could be the same record again next year, 20 wins maybe.
Yes.
My last quick little note here on the draft is day 2 started at 4 in the afternoon.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, why make it 2 days? Why not just have round 2 late at night? I would have stayed up and watched it. I would have too.
I really would have.
I had no idea what was going on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was I got the notification on my phone. I was like, are you serious?
Because they're expecting people to stop, drop, and say, hey, look, the draft's on my phone now.
On Wednesday?
You can yes. I didn't get it either, Justin. I'm telling you. But, they did them. And, hey, at least the picks got made.
Yeah. It was it was very weird. I don't. Hopefully they change that next year.
I hope so too.
I mean, I don't mind doing 2-day drafts. I think that's a good idea. But, you got to make, round 2, at nighttime
somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I literally had no idea what was going on. I got notification. I was like, oh, boy, look, we got a draft going. How strange is that? But, yeah, dude, let's move on to, some of these players here that we can mention here that got picked or
Yeah, I got one. I'm still wrapping my head around a little bit.
All right, well, I'm going to start here. You wrote down 5. I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and kind of pick and choose.
Oh, you're going to pick my topics?
Yeah. Yes, well, I'm going to pick the order. We're going to mention them all, but we're going to pick. First, I want to start off with Zach Edey at number 9. I didn't believe it, man. I did not think he was a top 10 pick.
A little high.
Yeah.
A little high. Okay, so to me, and you and I talked about this in our college ball podcast. If he can get the footwork, if he can truly find a way to have great footwork like Shaq in the NBA, because as big as Shaq was, he had incredible footwork.
Oh.
Ballerina level for being 7 foot, 300 plus.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's one of the top 3 centers of all time.
Most dominant I've ever seen in person or on
for sure
TV. I mean, Zach Edey has that absolute potential. I mean, he's a humongous guy, and he's got a pretty good skill set.
Yeah.
Guys his size, they get injured a lot. Yao Ming was they say he was one of the absolute best prospects to come from overseas, and then his feet it couldn't handle it. It was such a sad story.
It was.
Because he was so great. I mean, You know, you're looking at the next Shaq at that point, but his feet couldn't handle it because just that happens in big guys.
I like.
But I don't think it's. I think he went to a great team for this.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think they're gonna play a little slow enough to help him get up and down the court. They're not gonna run him to death, and I also think. I think with the perimeter style of play that they have with those players, like Edey he's going to have room on the inside to go one-on-one. And on defense, obviously, he's going to be great. He's going to be phenomenal. It's just, can he keep up? But they're not going to be, like I said, they're not going to be running back on offense. Like,
but the NBA is such a shooting transition jumper three league now. Yeah. Like, he is going to be effective, but only under the goal. Like, to me, he's actually a defensive liability.
Man, I don't know because he could get every rebound too.
Because think about a guy like Alex Sarr that's your height. He's going to pull you out. I mean, you're toast. Yeah. And he can go around you.
I mean, maybe, but
no, Alex Sarr will hurt his.
Edey's long enough. I think Edey's not going to have a problem with other bigs really going around
under the goal.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm talking about bringing him out to the 3-point line.
Well, yeah. I mean, you give him the run and start, then maybe, but. It's also, that's where the defensive strategy comes into play, too. I mean, with the right coach and the right strategy, you can get around that kind of stuff, really. So, I think
he's long.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's long. He's going to be able to get there. I think he's in a good spot, man. I think this was like, if there was a team in the top 10 to pick him, I think this was the team. But I'm still shocked that he went top 10.
But I was going to say, if Justin Clark was doing the draft, where would you have put Edey? I got an idea where I think he would have.
Man, late first round.
Late so I would have said between about 20 and 23.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where I would have landed.
I'm honestly just happy that a National Player of the Year got picked for the first time in, like, years.
Yes.
Like, I mean, he also won it twice, which was the first time since the 80s that's been done. So, I mean, what'd you have? You had Oscar Schwebe didn't get picked. There was another one, like...
P.J. Hall. Or are you talking about
there's another Player of the Year.
Sonogo? Player of the Year,
not MVP. There was another... There was a couple. Sonogo though didn't even get picked either. And
MVP of the Final Four.
Yeah,
still don't know where he is.
Yeah, so I was happy to see like a college player of the year get picked. Like that was awesome, and especially get picked in the top 10. Maybe college does matter.
Well,
yeah.
Well, one of my go ahead. No, make your point.
No, I was just gonna say, which leads me to the next player that you had wrote down.
Let's see if it's who I'm thinking.
The guy that could have been the best player in college, Reed Sheppard, goes number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You and I did talk about all year long how much we really liked his game.
I told everybody at the start of the year he was the best player on Kentucky.
Okay, and I still think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
I think Rob Dillingham does have a little bit of a case to plead with him, but the number 1 college player picked in the draft, I'm sorry, I can name players I would have absolutely taken over him. There's one in Duke I would have taken over him. I'm being serious. Yes.
I think Reed Sheppard was definitely a top 5 pick. I thought he would.
It couldn't even make third team All-American.
That's just because that comes down to voting. That's a voting thing, and he didn't start, so nobody's going to vote for him. I mean, it's the same thing with Marvin Williams. He was number 2 draft pick, didn't start, like didn't win any. Wasn't an All-American. But if he had started, probably would have been an All-American. I thought Reed Sheppard would go number 4, honestly, to San Antonio. Like I was kind of surprised.
Castle was going to go 3rd.
Yeah. I thought that they were going to go flip flop, but I'm not surprised. Reed Sheppard. He's got he's a best shooter in the draft. Better
than McCain?
I think so.
Think so?
I think so. I think
probably even.
I think he's a great playmaker. Mm-hmm. I think he passes the ball really good. I think he's
better than Connect. Connect, in my opinion, I think Connect might be the best shooter in the draft.
Connect, well, maybe, possibly.
That's why I didn't understand the pick. Like, there's 1,000 Reed Sheppards out there. Maybe not 1,000. That might be stretching it. But
I think what helped Reed Sheppard also was the fact that he only played 1 year of college, and the team was so much better when he was on the court. That Kentucky team, it's night and day difference when he was on the bench and when he was on the court. And that's a huge thing.
He's a really good player. I question his game in the NBA and going that high. I just feel like there's players I would have taken over him.
I think Reed Sheppard can.
I hope he proves me wrong.
I think he can be on the same level as somebody that we talked about earlier, and that's Klay Thompson. I think at the end of his career, I think you can say he's just as good as Klay Thompson. And I think that's where in this draft.
You're talking about a Hall of Fame shooter there.
Well, I mean, I think.
Of course, I also said that Alex Sarr could be the best player in 7 to 10 years too.
Yeah.
So you're totally entitled. I mean, it wouldn't completely shock me if he's.
You also got to look at the draft too. I mean, there's nobody that you definitely put ahead of him.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in a different draft you say, "Wow, number 3 is shocking," but I think here, man, I can't name other players that I'm definitely going to pick over him.
I just know a few things like. All these foreign players that you and I really know very, very little about.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are going to come out of nowhere and just be absolute monsters.
Oh yeah, or they could be the next Darko.
Jokic was a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs to remember that.
And Giannis was
a
43rd
pick. Yeah, late 1st round.
Mm-hmm. But Darko was number 2.
Oh, Milicic.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Wasn't Petrovic like a top 5? Drazen Petrovic?
He was a big I don't know. I think Reed Shepherd maybe went a spot or 2 higher than maybe he should have, but
you know what?
It's not in this draft.
For his father's sake, who was on that court when Christian Laettner broke their hearts for eternity, I hope his son has a great NBA career.
Yeah, I think Reed Shepherd's going to be. I think he's going to be awesome. I hate that he went to Houston because I'm not a big Rockets fan, but
right.
Well,
they have Dylan Brooks, so I automatically don't like them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kind of wanted him to go to the Spurs because I was like, why not go to the Spurs, a team that I really like.
They're going to be good, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Let's talk about the other player though that you kind of mentioned, Jared McCain.
Hey,
where did he go? He went what 16th? Was it 16th though?
16th.
18th.
18th.
16th.
I thought he went one after.
He went
Connect.
one before Connect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 16th to the 76ers. Perfect spot for him, man. Perfect spot for him.
You got a rough crowd to deal with up there. I've been in that arena. They are not very forgiving. But, no, I think Jared McCain could be a great NBA player. Now, he's not dealing with, guards from Pittsburgh and guards from Florida State getting in his face. He's dealing with guys that are going to be climbing up his shorts before the ball even reaches his hands.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, at the same time, I do think – I thought he was definitely the best player on Duke this year.
Oh, 100%.
No question about it. I mean, a lot of people gave Filipowski that honor, but definitely, Jared McCain. He's got such a sweet, confident stroke when he gets going. So, all right, so here's a logical prediction.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Redick.
Yeah.
Where Redick obviously in college, is one of the greatest to ever do it. He gets in the NBA for about 5-6 years, kind of struggles, but stays on rosters. And then years about 7 through 15 were actually very good years for him.
Well,
he really figured out the game.
Well, he didn't figure the game out. The game figured him out. He finally got on a team where they knew what to do with him. His first couple of years, I think they kind of wanted him to be like a scorer, and it's like, nah, he's just he's gonna run around and shoot. Like, just get him the ball and let him shoot. Don't let him like go 1-on-1.
He'll get killed.
Yeah, which I think is what they were trying to do early on. So I think McCain is in a perfect spot because he's going to be the number 3 guy in Philadelphia. And that's when you have a number 3 guy, I think you want your number 3 guy to be a shooter like he is. Like, go back and look, you had the Celtics big 3. Ray Allen was a number 3 guy.
Yep.
Because Pierce and Garnett were 1 and 2.
For sure.
Yeah, Allen was number 3. He was a shooter. Really, you could say the Warriors, really, honestly, Clay was number 3, a shooter. I mean, because Draymond had the ball a lot more.
Draymond was more useful than Clay.
Well, 100%.
In those title runs.
Yeah, so Clay, kind of just the shooter. Who else do you got? The Lakers. Who was their big 3 in the early 2000s? It was Shaq and Kobe. Was Drake Fox number 3, a shooter? Derek Fisher maybe was number 3?
Oh, Derek Fisher or Robert Horry.
Maybe Robert.
I would say Derek Fisher. Definitely
all three of them, though. All 3 of them, though. What are they? Shooters, pretty much.
100%.
So when your third guy is that shooter, so I actually think McCain helps Philadelphia a lot.
Embiid can pass.
100%.
He's a great passer.
Yeah, if you can,
so he can find it.
And maybe this will move Embiid off that 3-point line so much and down into the paint a little bit more, where he can pass out or just nobody's stopping him in the paint. First of all,
no.
Instead, he wants to shoot like 10 threes a game, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? So I think this actually maybe is what finally takes Philadelphia to that next level, and it's a draft pick in the middle of the round, like. Nothing,
as long as he can figure out how to get open and get a shot off, that's my only fear for him.
Well, he's going to find that with, Embiid and Maxey. Yes. I mean, if you can't get open with those two guys.
I forget he does have Tyrese Maxey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the number 2 guy. So, yeah, I think how I think he's in a perfect spot, man. I think that's a really good pick.
A good
and you're right. I mean, he's definitely the best player on Duke, and he'll definitely be the best player from Duke in the pros. Although we did get another Duke guy drafted, second round though. That was the guy that lost his leg in earlier this year.
Stupid Wake Forest Deacons fans.
Yeah, it's a miracle that he's still playing. Kyle Filipowski went to the Jazz in the second round. I mean, what's your thoughts there? I mean, I thought he was going to be a first rounder.
I did too, and I think that teams figured out that maybe he really just isn't.
Oh no, he sucks. I've always said that. Like he's he's way overrated.
You know, I don't care if a guy plays for Duke or not, or North Carolina. I'm gonna be honest with you about his game, and I see this being a 3 to 5 year, and you're out.
Oh, I will be shocked if he even plays at all in the NBA this year.
I mean, I just don't see how. I mean, I watch too many smaller defenders.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Baycott punk him out. I watched DJ Burns absolutely run him out. He had a hard time.
DJ didn't get picked, by the way.
He had a hard. What's that?
DJ didn't get picked, by the way.
Oh, he did not. That's another thing we should have mentioned. I mean, and I also saw PJ Hall work him a few times in the game that Duke. I mean, Duke won the game, but it doesn't matter. I watched PJ Hall just work him. And if you think those guys are bad, wait till you get to the no boys allowed part, the no boys allowed league.
Exactly.
That's exactly what this is. And I mean, of course, I want him to have a good career, but I don't have the faith in it.
I think I thought he would be a first round just because he's like what 6'11".
He's 7'1".
Is he 7'1"? Okay.
He's got a good shot, but it's a delayed shot.
Yeah, it's not a quick enough shot.
No.
He's not accurate enough either, really. I mean, he has a lot of games where he was like 1 of 6. You saw, though, the big thing that came out after the draft was the fact that his girlfriend is like 10 years older than him, and he'd been dating her since high school. So that's kind of strange. I mean, good for him.
Hey,
I mean, you
know. Speaking from somebody right here who's married to an older woman, I couldn't care less who you're married or dating as long as it's legal.
Well, I think that's the point, though. I don't think it was legal when they first started dating. He was in high school. She's like 20-something.
I mean, was he under? Obviously, he was under 18. Well, then you know what? I told my good friend to where we actually had a really heated debate the other day in his garage. You know, I keep my politics and I keep my anything else out of sports. I watch the game. I pull for the team.
That's the way it should be.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't think that way, especially in a situation like this.
Yeah, well, in a situation like this, it's different, yeah.
They're going to have to answer for that.
Yeah. Let's move on to the last player that you had written down, and that's Jamal Shead.
Yeah.
Went to 15th pick of the second round.
What were you thinking, Sacramento?
Yeah, he got picked by Sacramento and then traded, right, to the Raptors?
I think he would have been great in Sacramento. Okay, so you made a comment earlier in the show about 6-footers.
Yeah.
That struggle in the league.
He's not going to struggle.
I don't think so, and I think if I was Sacramento, I would have kept that pick. I thought he was one of the best picks of the second.
I don't think they needed a guard though. They got Monk and the other Kentucky guy.
They do, but Jamal Shead also plays a savage style defense.
Yeah.
And trust me, I watched it against Duke before he got hurt.
I was gonna say, do you think the injury is the reason why he fell so far?
Yeah,
yeah,
because it wasn't a good one. I mean,
because I thought also he could have been a first round pick.
Well, I also think his size had a little bit to do with it too. He's not the biggest guy.
No, but he does.
He's broad.
Yeah,
he looks strong and he's very fast. Very fast, with and without the ball.
But he's also 6 foot.
Exactly. Yeah, he's smaller. He's a smaller guy.
There's a reason though why I think he survives as a 6-footer in the league, and that's because he does something great. Which, we talked earlier about 6-footers like Bronny, who does nothing great. Yeah. As a 6-footer, you have to do something great. Jamal Shead automatically right now hasn't even played in the NBA. Could be top 15 defender in the league.
Yes, his defense is that good.
Yes.
He is a savage on defense.
Yeah, he's going to be the guy that the Raptors bring off the bench. And they're like, oh, Curry's got like 45, like halfway through the second quarter. And then Shead comes in and Curry might score like, 15 more. Which, that's pretty good defense.
And with a really fast first step.
Yeah.
A really fast first step.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to put a little pressure on him. I don't know if he'll be able to finish in the lane as much as he did in college because these guys are bigger, but... I question
him offensively, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But his defense is so good that he's going to survive in this league.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll be. It might only be like 10 years. but he will be around. And not only that, I think he is going to be on a championship team.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think about this. I mean, your most dangerous players in the NBA are your point guards.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, centers and power forwards are great too, but your point guards win and lose games for you. Okay, that's why Boston was so great.
Yeah.
They mastered it with defense and offense. And when you have a player that's going to be able to lock down your best on-ball, player, going to be your best on-ball defender, that is a very, very, very valuable stat.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about so the biggest problem the teams in the West had with defending Luka, there wasn't one guy that could have defended Luka, honest to goodness.
No.
Now, I don't know how well he would do with Luka because of the height difference, but I guarantee you Luka's not going to lose him.
If any height difference has been proven not to matter when you're a great defender, because J.J. Barea once held LeBron to hardly any points in the finals.
Yes.
So there you go. Overall, good draft.
Oh,
Good
yeah,
draft.
it
Fun
was.
draft. Let's talk about the guys.
Surprised about a few things, but
let's do a quick little note on the guys that didn't get drafted, and maybe who were you surprised with the most that didn't get drafted? Is there a name that pops off?
P.J. Hall.
P.J. Hall, 100%. I think an all ACC guy, a guy that led Clemson to the Elite Eight, which I didn't even know Clemson played in the NCAA tournament. This is the first time I ever remember them winning a game in the NCAA tournament. Another name I'm going to throw out there is Justin Edwards from Kentucky. If you go back to earlier in the year, there was a mock draft early in the year that had him as number 1.
And I actually just thought of one that I'm kind of surprised about. Now, I think the team he was on made a difference in that.
Yeah.
But Alex Caravan from UConn.
He went back to school, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Then that makes sense if he decided. I mean, you've already won 2 national titles. What are you waiting on?
Yeah, no, he went back to school, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
What's a third?
Well, I think he probably realized that he was probably going to make more in NIL money than he probably would wherever he got drafted.
Josh, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's great too. But yeah, I think the 2 guys that I was surprised I didn't get picked were P.J. Hall and Justin Edwards.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, Justin Edwards, literally, there was a mock draft at the start of the year that said, hey, this guy could be number 1 pick. And P.J. Hall, a guy that did something for Clemson that's never been done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Elite 8.
But hey, at least the National Player of the Year got picked.
But I will also tell you that Seth Curry also didn't get drafted either.
And
Seth Curry's had a good career.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't have been drafted, though.
I don't know about that, but I mean, it's moot point now. He's still in the league.
Yeah. The Hornets.
I'm saying he got picked up on free agency.
Yeah. The Hornets just released him, I think.
And he's got to retire now. I'm just saying he had a good career.
Yeah.
For not getting drafted.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, the Curry brothers have scored a crap load of points combined. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, they got to be one of the highest scoring brother tandems ever. Dude, this was a good first show, man.
It was.
Sportball guys. This was fun, man. Episode 1. It was a lot of fun.
We're coming with a lot more different topics, so stay ready.
Yeah, we'll be
some good ones coming.
Yeah, we'll be covering all sports: football, basketball, some baseball. Brandon don't want to talk about that. We'll mention.
Go study up.
Yeah, we'll mention some tennis. At some point. Yeah, maybe hit on some of the other sports like hockey or
my second love.
Yeah, tennis. Yeah, I love tennis.
Oh,
I'm always down.
Big time tennis player.
Yeah, I'm always down. This is gonna be a big year for tennis. I think you got a couple of retirements coming up. So
well, it's finally going to be interesting again. I think that's the thing. Like you don't really know. I mean, I think we'll get more in that when the show comes. Yeah. But we have a lot to talk about. Period. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Quick.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good show. Y'all make sure Sportball guys, make sure you check us out on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. We'll be on the Podcast Hell channel on YouTube, where you can check out our other shows. Good Blue, Bad Blue, and then I also do Film as Literature, so you can check that out. Which Brandon will be joining me sometime soon for that. So, and then we'll have some other stuff coming up. So, we really appreciate you guys, and we will check you later.
Peace out. See you next time.